Hey, it's Gordon from BeerDietProject.com, and so you can see behind me I have Einkorn malt. Now, I wanted to talk about Einkorn today because I started to do a little bit of research, and I've seen my video on starch and the whole Peruvian pop and whatnot. Well, I started to basically do research on Einkorn because I got interested in gluten. Now, I wasn't exactly gluten intolerant or allergic to gluten, I guess to an extreme level, but I did have a little bit of digestive problems. So I wanted to do research, and I basically came across this whole Einkorn thing. So this is malt, which is basically, something that I'm going to be using for brewing beer. So it's not the raw version, the unmalted version of Einkorn. But anyways, here's basically what I came up with and the reason why I became interested in it. Now, just like the story of the Peruvian papa, well, Einkorn is a grain that's native to East Turkey and I guess some parts of Africa or somewhere out there. So I'm not a farmer or, I don't know my countries too well. But anyways, what I know happens is same thing with the Peruvian papa. And that is that when you take a plant or a grain out of its native or natural environment, when it's in its native environment, it has like the right amount of minerals, water, pH, temperature, enzymes, from the microbial activity around it. And so you get what's, I guess, a natural and, well-balanced thing that it just grows naturally, needs no pesticides, herbicides, no nothing. It needs no help from men. It just grows naturally, right? So when you take it out of its native environment, however, what starts to happen is that, if it starts to lack a mineral, if the soil doesn't have the right pH or, any of these other things, then the plant or the grain, the grass that grows out of the grain will start to grow sick. And so that's basically what happened with that. And the way that, farmers will go about rectifying that or, correcting that would be to add pesticides or herbicides. Now, obviously, the whole idea of using herbicides or pesticides just never sits well with food. And so what they were doing was basically crossbreeding it and, basically, changing the grain inside and started to create what's now modern day wheat. Now, here's where gluten took on like a whole different, level for me. And you'll have to watch the video on, the 5 elements, the temperature, water, pH, minerals, and all those things. And you also have to watch the video on the digestive process with the body, where, in essence, when you eat something, what digests food inside of you are going to be enzymes and bacteria and or yeast and, all these other things that live within you. And so when you think about this, what eats grains and, other foods out in the field is essentially the same thing. It's bacteria and other things. So when you crossbreed wheat to make it resistant to bacteria, what you are really doing is you are essentially making the wheat create like stronger proteins. And that's where gluten comes in, because Einkorn is supposed to have gluten, but it's not the same as modern day wheat. Now, I may be completely wrong with this, but this is what really makes sense for me, that that gluten found in modern day wheat is just so strong that no bacteria can really eat it or break it down. Now, if no bacteria can break it down out in the fields, then inside of our bodies, same thing that's going to break down wheat is bacteria. So if they can break it down outside of the body, they're not going to be able to break it down inside of the body. And if you can't break down protein, if you watch the video on protein, you can't break down protein, your body's going to get an allergic reaction to that. And so that's basically my idea, behind gluten and, Einkorn and, why I've basically pushed away modern day wheat and try to go more for the heirloom versions, the original versions that grows out in nature, that's not been modified or touched by man in any way, shape, or form. So that's a video for today. I don't know. Let me think. What do you know about Einkorn? What do you know about protein digestion and the difference between gluten in acorn and the difference between gluten in modern day wheat. Again, this is my theory. This is what I've been finding. This is what I've been putting together. And if it's wrong, I don't know. It worked for me, so hopefully it works for you. And if you like this video, share it with your friends. And I hope to see you in the next video.